What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter, who's a retired future Hall of Famer and colorful boxing analyst and boxing pundit. Shawn Porter, he fought the who's within the sport of boxing. And Shawn Porter has an interesting take. Obviously, he campaigned in the welterweight division. Shawn Porter, he fought everybody from Andre Berto to Errol Spence Jr. to Terrence Crawford to Danny Garcia to Keith Thurman. He fought everybody. That's somebody. Adrian Broner. He fought absolutely everybody in the sport of boxing. Kell Brook. If and one thing you know, one thing for certain, two things for sure. Shawn Porter was going to press you every second of every minute of every round. And I truly believe Shawn Porter is a Hall of Famer. With that said, Shawn Porter, he was at the highly anticipated showdowns that's coming up in Washington, D.C., with Gervonta Tank Davis headlining his card against Hector Garcia. With that said, he talked about there's two welterweights on this card. Mainly, the main focal point was, and no disrespect to the other welterweight star title contender, Speedy Rashidi Ellis, but the focal point in this conversation was undefeated welterweight superstar title contender, Jaron Boots Ennis, who is 29 wins, no losses, no draw, 27 big wins by way of knockout. He is 25 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Shawn Porter, he discussed the future of Jaron Boots Ennis and that Jaron Boots Ennis is struggling to get big names in the ring. Now, Jaron Boots Ennis, he has the IBF, International Boxing Federation, with President Mr. Peoples. He's number one in a mandatory challenger for undefeated unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer who is widely considered by many to be top two, if not number one, definitely top five pound for pound best fighters in the world, and Errol the True Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, okay, Jaron Boots Ennis wants to make himself the mandatory challenger for Errol Spence and Errol Spence's IBF title. Okay, and he's saying that after this fight with Karen Chukazine, that he's gonna push for Errol Spence fight. Now, Errol Spence, he looked like he's gonna fight former unified WBC, WBA welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who is 30 wins, one loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. Keith Thurman is 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 69-inch arm reach. Keith Thurman is the World Boxing Council, better known as WBC, with President Mauricio Suleiman, board of 32 members, and they have ordered Errol Spence fight Keith Thurman for the WBC title or run the risk of being stripped. So, according to TGB, Tom Brown Promotions, they have petitioned all the sanction bodies, that being the WBA, IBF, and the WBC, to allow Errol Spence to face off against Keith Thurman. So it looks like Errol Spence, who suffered another car accident December 10th, Errol Spence is going to be looking to get back in the ring. Initially, his plans was to get back in the ring in February, but Errol Spence suffered a car accident, which is now going to see Errol Spence out the ring until May or June, okay, possibly against Keith Thurman. And the IBF has given Errol Spence 120 days from his next fight to answer the bell with Jaron Boots Ennis or run the risk of being stripped. But as I told you guys, I don't believe the IBF is going to strip Errol Spence Jr. because Errol Spence beats Keith Thurman. He's going to want to clean out the division, and that means the biggest fight in boxing between himself and undefeated three-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the number one best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is 39 wins, no loss, no draw, 30 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. So with that said, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, they make for the biggest fight in boxing. Errol Spence is 32 and already stating that he's having trouble making 147 pounds. He's ready to leave the division. The only reason he's staying there is to secure that undisputed showdown with Terrence Crawford, because that's a goal of his, to become undisputed. Strap season is one of his models, okay? So he wants to get the Terrence Crawford fight, and he wants to pick up that WBO strap. So after he fights and beats Keith Thurman, he would officially have cleaned out the division outside of Terrence Crawford. Jaron Boots Ennis is up and coming. He's a newbie in this entire equation. And so, with that said, Shawn Porter says that Boots Ennis needs to focus on other fighters and be realistic because he's simply not going to get the fight with Errol Spence Jr. The politics of the sport of boxing is not going to allow it. He stated that Errol Spence is on the level above him as far as finance and revenue drawing power, and it's just not going to happen. He said this is something that I had to come to the realization with when I was looking to fight Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. My father told me, you're not going to ever get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. He's not going to fight you because financially, you're not the drawing power that he needs as the other side to bring in. And that's where Errol Spence is with Jaron Boots Ennis. He says that the powers that be obviously is not going to look to see that happen. And they're definitely not going to strip Errol Spence of his title. So let's listen to what Shawn Porter had to say regarding this entire equation.
What is more than likely not realistic. It's more than likely not realistic, even though he's going to get a mandatory he's going to be in a mandatory position. It's not realistic that Boots is going to get Errol Spence Jr. Now. I don't think it's realistic. I think Errol has bigger things on his mind. Not to say that that Boots is not more than likely the biggest challenge that he could have. But at the same time, I just think that what Errol is looking for is not Boots. Boots is scratching and clawing to get to Errol, but is that scratching and clawing going to get you there? I'd rather you be on stage and tell everybody what's next, because that's more realistic than be on stage and say, man, I dust you off, I'm ready for something else, you know? Doesn't say my name. He just doesn't know. My dad told me, and this is when I let it go. My dad said, "You're never gonna get in the ring with Mayweather. They're not gonna give you that fight. So who else do you want? What else? What else are what are your other goals?" And that's how I let it go. But it took my dad explaining to me that this guy is on a whole nother level in terms of the money that he commands, the status that he has, the stardom that he has. You're not up there. He won't look down for you. Is what it is. No disrespect to me and my skills as a fighter. No disrespect to me as a person. All that. It just is what it is, and that's where Errol is now.
So as you can see, Shawn Porter, he stated that, it's just not realistic, for Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, I have a video coming later today. You can check that out. Uh, um, Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. But like I said, Jaron Boots Ennis' best opportunity is to make himself the welterweight WBO mandatory challenger for Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford does not have a fight coming up, and Jaron Boots Ennis is number one in the WBO ranking system. Now, I know if you look at the ranking system, it's going to tell you that undefeated Mexican superstar welterweight title contender Virgil Ortiz Jr. is number one. But in reality, Virgil Ortiz is fighting, who's 19 wins, no loss, no draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. He's going to fight Ennis, who's the WBA regular champion, undefeated Lithuanian boxer, March 18th for the WBA regular title, which means that he's going to lose his position, win or lose, against Ennis, and Jaron Boots Ennis is number two. So truly, he's number one, because number three fight on that list is Keith Thurman, who's going to fight Errol Spence for the WBC mandatory position. So, like I said, uh, Errol Spence has a plan. He has a goal. His plan and his goal is to face off against, you know, his plan and his goal is to face off against Terrence Crawford after this Keith Thurman. He didn't even want this Keith Thurman fight, but the powers that be have been pushing for this Keith Thurman fight, so he's going to be forced to fight Keith Thurman. But this is not what Errol Spence wanted to do. But this will officially allow Errol Spence to clean out the division. He beats Keith Thurman. He would have beaten Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, and your Dana Sugas as the champion, and have the opportunity to beat Terrence Bud Crawford. The only fighters he didn't fight was Manny Pacquiao, which is a shame because he had Manny Pacquiao on the play for 2021, but suffered that broken nor detached retina, the eye injury that saw him pulled out of the fight. And he obviously didn't get the fight with Floyd Mayweather. But outside of that, he's fought the who's who at the welterweight division. He fought and beat Kell Brook. He fought and beat Mikey Garcia. He fought and beat Danny Garcia. He fought and beat Shawn Porter. Fought and beat your Dana Sugas. Fought and beat Keith Thurman. And now to have the Terrence Crawford fight, and if he could fight and beat Terrence Crawford, he would have officially cleaned out the division and become the undisputed champion. And Jaron Boots Ennis is just the era behind him. Okay, it's just unfortunate for Jaron Boots Ennis, but the IBF is not. Errol Spence has won. That was his first world title. He's been holding the IBF title now for 6 years, since 2017. Okay, since May of 2017, Errol Spence had the title, the IBF, for 6 years. He represented that belt. They're not going to suddenly strip him because he has a mandatory and not allow him to fight for undisputed. So what Shawn Porter says, I believe is true. He definitely should focus on being a mandatory for Terrence Crawford, who does not have an opponent and looking to get back in the ring in May. So let's see how it unfolds and plays out. But Shawn Porter tells Jaron Boots Ennis to be realistic. The powers that be is not going to see you force Errol Spence to be stripped of the title. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like your shitty videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.